In the Money is made possible by financial support from Old National Bank and Chicagoans like you. Thank you.
Good evening, Chicago, and welcome to In the Money. I'm your host, Deborah Dervin, and today's episode is extra special because I have a very special co-host, my son, Kanon Dervin.
All right, so tonight, we're having real money conversations with teens. My friends and I are here to talk about money, how we think about it, how we use it, and everything we're still trying to figure out.
Teaching kids and teens about money is one of the most valuable life skills because, let's be real, you'll be managing money for the rest of your life. I've been talking to Kanon about money since he was little. Do you remember our first money talks?
Yeah, I think I do. We started with some jars, I think. They said save, spend, and give, right?
That's right. I wanted to make it simple and practical. And now, as a teen, do you think learning about money early has helped you?
For sure. Learning about money as a kid is going to make it 100 times easier to manage it later as an adult. That's why I'm excited about this episode, to help other teens start thinking about money and give parents ideas on how to teach it in a way that makes sense.
That's the goal. So whether you're a teen trying to figure it out, how to save up for something, or a parent wondering how to start money conversations at home, this episode is for you.
And after the break, I'll be joined by my friends Gavin, Matthew, and Deborah as we break down money from a teen's perspective. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Robin Robinson. This week in other news, I'll sit in community and conversation with Kimberly Thomas, financial guru of Kimco International. From retirement prep to investing, Kim's gonna walk us through everything we need to know, no matter your income. Join the conversation on CAN TV, cable channel 19, or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN TV Plus app. Hyperlocal news, critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
Welcome back. My first guests are Gavin, Matthew, and Deborah. Welcome to In the Money. So the first scenario I want to propose is, if you suddenly got $500, what's the first thing you do with it?
If I was given $500, I would split that in half to $250 and $250 and put one of the $250s in my savings account, and then the other $250 I would use to, just have regular spending, food, basic things that I do throughout the week, and in the rare chance I want to actually spend something, bigger, I'll have that $250.
For me, I would do something similar. I would put 10% like for my tithes and stuff, but whatever I had left over, that 90%, I would split in half and then put half into savings and a half into for me to just have on the daily.
If I got $500 right now, as of right now, I've been trying to save up to get a camera, so I would just put that $500 towards getting the camera.
All right. So what was your guys' first jobs and how did you guys get it?
My first job was through After School Matters. The official job is called Sports and Recreational Leadership. So it's basically just, camp counselor, learning how to become a camp counselor and do things of that particular sort. And I got that job through my mom. She knew the boss that was actually going through it. So I was able to have a conversation with him, and he was like, I got a job for you. I think you'll be perfect for this. And it went through like that.
My first job was through this program that I used to do when I was younger called 530 Scholars. It was tutoring, and it was basically just going to different schools and tutoring different kids on stuff they were struggling with. I got the job because, like I mentioned, I used to do the program, and so the person that runs it, likes to pour back into the people that he has worked with, and so he offered me the job, and I took it.
My first job, it's not really a real job, I guess, but I'm an entrepreneur. I started a clothing brand because my dad always taught me to make sure you have a stable source of income that's completely yours, something that you own. So he just gave me the opportunity to pick one thing to be an entrepreneur at, so I picked a clothing brand.
So my first job was an internship that I got through the school, right? Yeah. And I think it was my game programming teacher. He had got me into it where we basically just worked on like robotics and stuff during the summer. It was a good program. So I want to ask you guys, how has having a job changed the way you think about money?
It definitely has taught me to save a little more. You know, having a job, it teaches you, like, you know, while you have money, it's cool to save it because you never know when that job might stop. You never know when the income might run out. So it's good to always have some on the back end. So it actually taught me to save a little more.
Yeah, for me, having a job kind of taught me like that money comes from somewhere. You have to actually work for it. It's not just something that's given to you or handed out on the fly. And so I think for me, it kind of like just showed me how to be more responsible with it and not just treat my money as something that's just disposable, but to like actually put it into good things or save it or just be responsible with it.
Having a job, it taught me how to manage my time. It taught me how to save money as well. I think that's about it.
Okay. So next question we have is, do you save money for something specific or do you just save for the future?
I think it depends on what's going on at the time. If it's like an important event or like a party or something I'm going to, I'll try and save a little bit, maybe for like outfit or things of that particular sort. But if nothing is really going on at that particular time, then I would definitely try and save it, for future expenses or, help it out with my parents or whatever the case may be.
For me, I like to save for like specific things. So right now I'm trying to like save up for an iPad because I've wanted it for a good minute and I just haven't been able to like consistently save up for it. But I like to like for my money, I'll save it based on like what I have going on. Like if I know I'm going somewhere with my friends or stuff like that, then I'll put my money towards it.
I try to save my money for the future because I just want to have money in the future. I don't want to just spend my money right now and then not have, I guess, like a trust fund, I guess you would call it, for myself, just in case, like, if that makes sense.
I feel like that's understandable, especially for me, because I know most of the time I save for the future, mostly for the fact that there's not a lot of things that I would like save up for that I want now, and I would rather like in the future be more financially stable. Yeah.
For real.
So our next question is, when you got the first check from your job, how did you want to split it up? Did you save some, did you invest some, or did you give some?
My first check, I was 12 years old, so I'm not even gonna tell a story. I spent that. Like that was the first real check, and that's what taught me to chill out because I spent that check. I'm not even gonna hold you. I spent that check in like 2 weeks. It was like a cool 200. I spent that in 2 weeks. So yeah, that definitely taught me to chill out.
My first check I got when I was 13, and so I also wasn't the most responsible, and I spent it in a day and got AirPods. So,
for me, when I got my first check, I don't remember what I spent it on. It was just like, it was something dumb, and I regretted it. And my mom had told me like, save it, don't spend it, or like invest it into something else. And I was like, nah, like let me get that. I want it. It taught me like, don't do that no more.
When I got my first check, what did I do with it? I think I invested some of it, yes. But like the first thing I bought was probably some food, because like the next day after work, I was like, I just got my check, so let me go get some food. You know what I mean? So that was nice. All right. So one thing I want to ask you guys is, do you ever feel pressure to spend money just like to fit in?
I don't feel pressure, but I feel like I make a conscious choice to like spend more based on what I know is a little bit more popular. But I don't think it's a pressure choice. I think it's just something that I choose to do.
Next thing I wanted to ask is, what's something you saved up for that you were really proud of?
Something that I saved up for was to contribute to my Africa trip that I went to last year. I saved up about a good maybe 1,500, and I was able to contribute that and get that to my parents to help them out because they do a lot for me, and they're putting their time and money into me going to Africa, and I definitely wanted to push that back towards them.
One of the things like I'm most proud of saving for would be my Apple Watch, mainly because it was a time and like I had so much going on, and it was a time where I wasn't that much responsible with money, so it was like the first thing that I had really like saved for. So
I'm in the process of saving up for it right now, but I'm trying to become a photographer, and I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and now I'm getting to the point where I'm able to buy it. I just have to go and buy it. So I feel like I'm very proud of the fact that I've saved up the money and I've put in the effort to become a photographer. So.
All right, thank you guys for answering my questions. And after a quick break, we'll be joined by our in-house financial education expert, Ben Juergens, to continue the conversation. In the Money continues on the other side of a short break. Stay with us.
I'm Andy Zopp, the host of Chicago Newsroom 2.0. Every week, we gather for insightful conversations with local journalists and community leaders as we discuss the news of the day and how it impacts the lives of Chicagoans. Join the conversation on CAN-TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN-TV Plus app. Hyperlocal news and critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
Joining the conversation is Old National Bank's Director of Financial Empowerment, Ben Juergens. Welcome, Ben, and thank you for joining us.
It's good to be back. Thank you.
The first question I want to propose is, at what age do you think someone should start learning about money management?
It's a great question. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's ever too early to start teaching kids about money. I think a lot of times parents will delay that discussion, whether it's fear or they don't want to share much about it. But I think, I've got kids ranging from 13 down to 4. As they get in that 5 to 6 age range, I actually start talking to them at a very young age around then.
So Ben, what are some tips that you currently use to save and manage your money?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of saving. A lot of Americans struggle with that. So for me, I think the biggest thing is every time I get paid, I have a portion of my check automatically go into a variety of savings accounts. It doesn't even have to be a lot, to be honest. So I've got 5 savings accounts. I'll just tell you what they are. An emergency fund. I've got a college savings, a vacation club, a Christmas club, and then my daughter's wedding fund. So the day that they were born, we open these things up, and it's not about putting a lot of money in, but it's happening automatically. So I don't see that money, I don't miss it, and most importantly, I don't spend it.
All right, thank you.
my question was, what are good things to invest in, and like, how do you choose what to invest?
Yeah, just throw it all in crypto. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So it really depends on your risk tolerance. So if you're looking at investing, I'm a big fan of not putting, the saying is not put all your eggs in one basket, right? So I'm a fan of having some of it low risk, some high risk, some medium risk. But I rely on a financial advisor. I mean, there's these people, they get their full-time job, they study their butts off forever to get their licenses. And those are the people I'm going to trust, because they're really not going to make money unless I make money. But it's about them understanding my risk tolerance and what I'm okay with. So the younger I am, the more risky I can be. But as I get older and closer to retirement, then I really need to be careful with that money.
If you had to make money right now without a traditional job, how would you do it?
So I love the idea of entrepreneurship. I teach kids in my kids' school about entrepreneurship. We do it from the 4th through the 8th grade. And I love the idea of creating your own business, whether it be a service or a new product or an adaptation of a product. That's something that if I was to go in is create something, I like to be creative.
If you had to set up a plan for somebody that you didn't know, how would you set it up?
So for me, it's getting to know you, finding out what your short-term and long-term goals are, what your income looks like, and then we're going to put a plan based on that.
Okay. So with us, being sophomores in high school, what would you say would be the best way to start and get into investing right now?
Yeah, the hard part with investing is typically you need to be 18 years old to really get into the investing side. So you're going to have to work with a guardian or parent to do that. But I like utilizing, your phone. Get on there. There's a stock app on most phones. You can research companies. Your phone is a powerful tool these days, and it will tell you a lot about things. But, we just got through the Super Bowl not that long ago. Companies spent millions just for a 30-second spot. I think it was $8 million this year for a 30-second spot. And as I'm looking at the Super Bowl, I'm thinking, okay, maybe people are going to buy a lot of these services, right? So these might be some stocks to consider. But just look around what's going on in the world, what's going on with tech, and you just kind of look into that, and then maybe work with the parent or guardian and say, hey, I've saved up some money. Can we go ahead and open an account? And then when I get to a certain age, can I take over that account?
Thank you.
You had mentioned taking risks before, and the younger you are, the riskier you can be. how do you go about deciding what's okay to take a risk on?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example with my kids' college accounts. So the day that they were born, we set these up. Same with my daughter's wedding fund. You can set up for age-based growth, and a lot of companies do. So when you start working full-time, they'll have a retirement account for you, and you can set it up where you don't even have to worry about it. If you choose age-based growth, it's going to automatically put it in categories that are risky when you're young, and then it's slowly as you age is going to get less and less risky as you get closer to retirement. So they kind of do it for you. And a lot of people don't know this, but there's 800 numbers, and with all these plans, you can call them and they'll give you free advice. I talk to any of your bankers. Just talk to an advisor, a financial advisor at any banks, and they love talking with kids, by the way. And I love it that you all are even interested in investing, because a lot of adults aren't, but this is really how you earn a lot more money than most people, is by that power of investing. But they're going to be on your side for you.
You talked about gaining a mentor. How would you say, how important would you say it is to have a mentor when it comes to going into managing your money?
Yeah, I think just having a mentor in general is phenomenal. Like the former CEO of our bank was my mentor when I started 25 years ago. But he was a guy that I could always go to for advice. I still talk to him to this day. And with money, a lot of people are afraid to ask somebody at the bank what to do with their money. People worry that, am I asking a dumb or silly question? I can just tell you, working at the bank for 25 years, there is no dumb or silly question. The dumb or silly part is not asking the question. So just be open to talk to people and we call them relationship anchors. Tell them everything. Tell them what you want to do and have them help put a plan together for you so you can sit back and watch your money grow, but never hesitate to ask those questions.
Thank you.
I know you had talked about like sometimes stuff being hard, like with the houses and stuff. So sometimes if things don't work out, how do you like adjust and change to fit things to be how you want them?
That's the tough part, right? When I was single, it was about me. Then I got married, it was about me. I mean, us. Just kidding. And then we had kids, and it became about them, right? So, when we bought our first home together, it was like, okay, we're doing fine. We're making 2 incomes. And then life throws a curveball with the child, and then 2, and then 3, then 4. And so what we had to do was adjust our lifestyle, right? I had to give up all the fancy cars. We gave up we did not upgrade our house. We kept a small house, and we realized we're never even home now with 4 kids. And it's one of those things that we had to delay the instant gratification and think about long term. If I want to send kids to college, so we just cut back on our spending, put more in the bank. And while I'd love to go out and spend more money, I realized that if I want to hit those goals of sending kids to college, afford their weddings if they choose to have a wedding, and being able to retire by a certain age, I just had to cut it out. And it's kind of like keeping up the Joneses is fun, but it's really expensive. So we just had to make some sacrifices.
How good would you say YouTube is as a source on like investing or managing your money?
Yeah, so YouTube, social media, like I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and I follow all these financial advice individuals, and I will say there's some really good ones, but there's also some really bad ones. So it's like, research, Google, like who are the best financial mentors for teens and whatnot. There's some really good ones out there, and my kids have been watching them, and there's some entertaining ones, but I think YouTube has some really good resources. It's just finding ones that are reputable and ones that have a good backing. But just kind of do your homework and just search for them and see if you can get some good results and good advice, what other people said. But I think social media can be a great outlet for advice. Just make sure you're following the right people.
So what jobs do you think for people our age would be the best to be financially stable in the future?
So as a teenager, one thing, I worked at a bowling alley, my first job, and it was fun. I had a good time. I was a bowler. But going back now, I love the idea of hard work, like, mowing lawns. When we get snow here, right? Shoveling snow, going door to door. And what you do is you build relationships. What we teach in our entrepreneurship club is about building relationships. People aren't buying a product because of the product itself. A lot of times they're buying about who's backing it. Who is the owner? And if you are a successful individual in selling yourself and selling the product, they're going to keep coming to you no matter what you've got to offer. So I love the idea of kind of, whether it's window washing or mowing grass or setting up a lemonade stand, as cheesy as it sounds, we have people doing those things in ours, and they're really successful. We had one girl in the school, it was a Catholic school, making rosaries, and she made $500 in 2 days. I mean, it was one thing, find out what people want and then build a product for them. Not necessarily building a product because you like it, but you have to understand what other people want and being able to adapt to that, whether it's a service or a product. That's how you're going to get most successful.
All right, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Gavin and Matthew and Deborah, for sharing your thoughts on managing money. And thank you, Ben, for giving us your wisdom.
Thank you.
On the other side of the break, my mom and Ben return live in the studio with an all-new Money Matters.
Every community has a story, a pulse, a voice waiting to be heard. At CAN TV, we bring these stories to life, from the heart of Chicago to your living room. Join us in supporting hyper-local television. Your backing helps us cover what matters directly in our communities, unfiltered and upfront. Help tell the important stories of our communities. Become a program underwriter today.
Welcome back. For this week's Money Matters, I would love to continue the conversation about teens, kids, and money with you, Ben, specifically around helping our parents that are maybe watching, helping them to navigate teaching their kids about money. So how can parents have or make a money conversation a natural part of their everyday life instead of, us always giving those one-time lectures? How can they do that?
Right. Well, as much as we as parents love to try to give these one-time lectures, a lot of times it doesn't stick, right? So what I've found to be successful is to really focus in on things that kids care about. So example, I've got growing kids, food is a big topic, right? So when we go to the grocery store, I have them in advance try to, here's your budget. See if you can get all the stuff you want under this certain budget. In the electric bill, we always say, well, we want to do this, let's find ways that we can save on expenses. And then, they kind of learn and see these things with water bills and whatnot. So I said, well, let's see if we can reduce our bill next time by reducing the shower time, so they kind of start timing themselves. But we really try to focus on things that they enjoy and that they can really literally have control over changing a bill.
And I also believe that a natural way is them to see our habits, out loud. Sometimes we hide our money situation or our money habits from our kids. If they ask us for things, we just say yes, or we just either do, so they don't understand whether there's a budget. So if you start using terminologies and say, okay, you can do this, but the budget is, so they'll start learning, okay, there's constraints to
absolutely.
what I can ask.
Even going out to eat, right? Here's our budget. And to your point, share experiences about yourself. We do share some of our bills with our kids. We don't tell them what we make and things like that, but we say this is why it sometimes might be tight to do certain things, and this is why if we're going to go to Florida on a vacation, here's our budget, and here's the entertainment expense. I'm going to let you guys plan what we're going to do, but you got to stay under this budget. So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
And sometimes it's okay to say no.
Absolutely, it is.
That's not in the budget this week.
We want to be their parent, not their friend first, right?
Yes. So what are some age-appropriate ways to introduce budgeting to our kids and teens?
Yeah, so my youngest kids, they love video games, for example. And they love to go, so when we went to the bowling alley not too long ago, we gave them a certain amount of money that they could spend. And it broke my heart, but my daughter ran out of money instantly. She, those giant claw machines, Tamara?
Oh, yes.
First time she won this big old cow, right? And so where did the rest of her money go? Right to that game, right? And then she was out of money within 3 minutes. So as much as I wanted to give her more money, I had to let her learn the hard way. And that's what we choose to do, is let our kids, they earn money through Christmas or birthdays, and they can go spend on whatever they want. But when it's out, it's out. And I hate to do that, but it's also, that's the way that they learn. Because if you and I run out of money, nobody just comes and gives us more, right? So we have them learn the hard way, but it actually has shaped the way that they think about things when they get future money.
One of the ways I taught Kanon when he was young is with the jars. Okay, this is how you split
up.
Spend,
save, share. Yeah.
Right. Split up, the money. And as they've gotten older, I've seen different apps and things that actually help kids actually do those things, but in an electronic format. Some of them cost, so people
green light and things like that are really good. But I agree with you. So,
but some banks, some banks actually have it free.
Yes,
they actually have it free for if you have a teen account.
Absolutely.
They actually do those same things within the app.
100%. And I agree with you too. It builds that savings mentality. So when they do get, say, $100 from grandpa or whatever, we say X amount goes in the bank, and then you can spend whatever's left. But I agree with you. Build that mentality of spending, saving, and giving back.
How, and I know some of us are probably still learning this ourselves, but how can parents teach their teens the difference between needs and wants, when they're learning about how to manage their money?
So you can look at things, and I think we do have to take a hard check on ourselves, right? So maybe you could do like a two-way conversation of saying, here's some things that I like, and then have the kids identify, is that a need or is that a want, mom or dad, But then going back to them. So if the need is to have communication, a cell phone, maybe, I think a cell phone could be a need these days. The one version, obviously, is the brand new iPhone or brand new Android or whatever it is. But I think having those conversations on things that they're used to doing. So I could get about, transportation and those kind of things. But a lot of times kids at that teenager level don't really think beyond a few years beyond them. So focusing on things around what they're buying now. So if clothes is the need, then the one version is the name brand this, the name brand that. And I think that really helps understand, at least it has with our kids, of understanding that needs and wants mentality. But I think we have to take a hard check in the mirror ourselves to make sure we're setting the right example too.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben. On the other side of the break, we'll close out the show with this week's Money Moment. We're back in 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm Robin Robinson. This week in other news, I'll sit in community and conversation with Kimberly Thomas, financial guru of Kimco International. From retirement prep to investing, Kim's going to walk us through everything we need to know, no matter your income. Join the conversation on CAN TV, cable channel 19, or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN TV Plus app. Hyperlocal news, critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
The Book of Wisdom says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." That wisdom even applies to teaching kids and teens about money. When we equip them with the knowledge and habits of managing money early, we set them up for success. It's not just about dollars and cents. It's about building a strong foundation for their future. I saw this firsthand when Kanon got his first paid internship this past summer. Before even receiving his first paycheck, he came to me and said, "Let's talk about how I should split up the check, how to budget it." That moment warmed my heart because he had already learned the importance of giving, saving, and spending wisely. The only thing I had to add to his plan was a portion for investing.
And I'm happy you did that. That conversation helped me see how important it is to have a plan for my money, not just spend it because I have it. And that's what I want other teens to take away from today. Money isn't just something to use, it's something to manage.
Absolutely. Now I know that sometimes parents hesitate to talk to their kids about money because they're still figuring things out themselves. But here's the good news. You've been watching In the Money this season, and you've been taking steps to get your financial house in order. You are equipped, and you can do this.
If you start the conversation, you might be surprised at how much your kids want to learn.
That's right. And to help you take action, here are your key takeaways from today's episode. Number 1, talk to your kids and teens about money. It's a life skill they'll use forever. Don't wait to start the conversation. Number 2, teach them a simple budgeting model that aligns with your values. It could be give, save, spend, or save and spend, but always teach them to put something aside for the future. Number 3, help them manage their money with a system, whether it's the classic jars, a financial app for kids, or a banking app designed for young savers. Choose what works best for your family.
Learning about money now makes it so easy to manage later. So whether you're a teen or a parent, take what you learned today and put it into action.
Thank you, Kanon, for being on In the Money with me today.
You're welcome, Mom.
Join us next week as we're back in the lab to have the battle of the investments, stock market versus real estate. We'll also be back with an all-new edition of Money Matters. If you have any questions about today's topic or any financial question, send them to me. Email me at tamara@moneybasicsonline.com or follow me on Instagram at IamMoneyBasics. Also follow my guests on social media. I would love to keep this conversation going, so let's connect. Remember, we are on this journey together to get, stay, and grow in the money. See you next time.